guys, you are welcome to Relufe Review, a show where we objectively review the Nigerian art, music, movies, and entertainment in general. But before we forge ahead, please note that all the views and opinions that I express here are mine and my personal biases alone. On that note, my name is AY with the double O, and let us get right into the movie for today. The movie we are going to be reviewing today is none other than ÀJÀKÁJÀ, Beast of Two Worlds. And for me, when I heard ÀJÀKÁJÀ, what came to mind is I was expecting fire, ginger, for the movie. But then from the premiere of the movie, I could tell that it wasn't about the movie, because there's no way that people go for the premiere of a film and nobody is talking about the movie itself. Going to the cinema to see the movie, I would say that I'm quite disappointed, especially from the top actors that we had in the movie. So ÀJÀKÁJÀ tells the story of King Towobola. Odunade played the role of King Towobola, who had 10 years to be on throne because he had to produce an heir, a male heir. If he doesn't produce a male heir, he has just 10 years to exit the throne as a king. Now, the king becomes desperate. He goes out one day and comes back with Adaralewa, his queen. Previously he had 3 wives, and then he comes back with another queen who is supposedly supposed to give him that male child that he has been looking for. Now, somewhere along the movie, secrets begin to unravel, because at the beginning, of course, we're not sure where did the king gets this woman from and all that. Adaralewa happens to be an antelope from the animal kingdom and a human in the human world, which was not also very clear. Now, before I go into rating the movie at all, I'm going to first talk about the errors in the movie. Now, the king has 3 wives who supposedly gave birth on the same day. How is that even possible? Why are they giving birth on the same day? It's not like, oh, they gave birth today, tomorrow. At the same time, one person is pushing, they're calling the mother, the lady taking care of the nurse, supposedly, something they call them in Yoruba, Agbebi, or those that are helping the king's wife, to push. They are calling them at the same time that another king's wife is pushing. So long story short, the king's 3 wives are pushing at the same time. It's rather shocking. And now for Adaralewa, I'm not really sure what they were trying to portray, because she's playing the role of an animal turned human. Now she's playing the role of being a divine person, like she's coming to save the king. She's also playing the role of a beast. It got confusing there. And also for the Yoruba idioms, the language, it was really good. I really enjoyed how deep they went into Yoruba. It was nice. But then you're supposed to give that extra thing, to the movie. He didn't do that. Instead, it was just a very flat, movie, from the storyline to the plot twist, which was also not, it was just there, to be very honest, it was just there. And it seemed like all these old Yoruba movies that we've seen in the past, where an animal is turning into a human being. And there were some things that, to be honest, I would say that they did not really rate us. We that were going to watch the movie, they didn't rate us, because if you would rate your viewers, then you would do something better. And for me, I think I've seen ÀJÀKÁJÀ play better roles in better movies. Let me not even talk about the costume of the movie. I'll go straight into the rating criteria. So for the plot of the movie, the summary of the story is it revolves around a king who has a limited time to produce a male heir, and then there was a plot twist where it brings them a strange woman who happens to now be an antelope turned human being. The plot twist was not, it didn't do justice to the movie at all. When they say something is not coherent, like there was no coherence in the movie one bit. So for the plot of the movie, I would rate it a 3/10. For the attraction of the movie, entertainment value was not there, because they failed to entertain us. In as much as there was supposed to be like a plot twist where the king's new wife is now an antelope in another world, and she's the famous ÀJÀKÁJÀ who has been killing the hunters in the town. There was still no point of attraction for me in that film. So for the attraction of the movie, I would rate it a 4/10. They didn't do justice to the entertainment value at all. For the theme of the movie, the theme centered around identity and redemption, which the characters did not portray. They failed to execute that part. For the redemption of it, because how is the king supposedly, they find out that the king brought ÀJÀKÁJÀ, the person that has been killing, the beast that has been killing the hunters. He now brought this person back as a queen, and then the king is just there after confessing to such a crime. he's still there on the throne as a king. In a normal setting, the king would either have been banished, and he still hasn't been able to produce an heir. So there are so many reasons why he should have been banished immediately from being a king, but then he was still there. So for the identity and the redemption theme in the movie, it wasn't really portrayed. The characters did not bring it out. They didn't bring it to life, So for the theme of the movie, I'd rate it a 4/10. So for the acting of this movie, I'd say that the acting of the movie was good. They had top-notch actors and the acting was really good. But the casting choices of, the actors, the cast, the roles that they were giving was not very... look at Lateef Adedimeji. I don't understand his character in that movie, to be very honest, because initially I was thinking, when he actually went to meet the Queen Mother and said that he has been, that he has more male children and he has been looking for a female child, and the king has been, I was expecting that, maybe they would do something extra or something out of the ordinary, like, okay, maybe the king would actually call him and say, oh, can we swap children or something? That did not happen. And then for the three queens, Fetia Balogun, Bimbo, Akintola, and for the three queens, I would say that these are three these are three top actors. The choice of putting them together as queens, I would expect that power, that energy. We're looking at three veteran actors here, and then for me, they were still just there. I didn't really understand that part. And let's not even go to the first scene where, for the acting of the movie, it was good, but for their casting choices, for some, they didn't really do justice to the movie. The King's three wives are top actors, and I would have expected something extra. They didn't bring their A game to the movie. And it's, of course, in some movies, it happens when you have top actors coming together. I feel like one way or the other, they just get to do they get to be so basic. That's the word. They get to be so basic on set as compared to when we have some new characters with some old characters on set. I feel like they come up with something better at the end of the day compared to having top quality actors all together, in the same space. So for the acting of the movie, I'll give it a 5/10. For the dialogue of the movie, I would say that they had some colorful idioms, beautiful Yoruba figures of speech, but it didn't add depth to the movie at all. It didn't add value whatsoever to the movie. I was expecting that, they really spoke Yoruba so well. They went deep into Yoruba culture and all that, but then it didn't add depth to the movie one bit. It was supposed to, it didn't develop the movie. It didn't make it any better, and which is not supposed to be. These things are supposed to be the extra thing on the movie, like that extra icing, but then it didn't add any value to the movie. So for the dialogue, I'll give it a 3/10. So for the cinematography of the movie, I would say that there was some inconsistent costume design. This minute you're seeing a different costume on this person, that minute you're seeing, it was just not consistent. They were not consistent with the costume design of the movie, which of course the overall viewing experience added to it, So for the cinematography of the movie, I'd say they didn't really do well with that. I'll give it a 4/10 for the cinematography of the movie. For the soundtrack of the movie, let's not talk about the fact that it got to a part I could not hear anything that they were saying, and the actors were speaking, especially that scene where ÀJÀKÁJÀ and the king were now fighting and all that. At that point, I could not hear anything that they were saying. The soundtrack covered the sound of the movie itself. I'm like, I don't know how to go about that. For the soundtrack, they had some nice, it was beautiful music. For the song, I was literally almost singing it as they were, moving from one scene to the next scene, but it just overshadowed the original sound of the movie. So for the soundtrack of the movie, I'll give it a 5/10, basically because the soundtrack was good, but it was overshadowing the original sound of the movie. At the point we could not hear what the actors were saying, and it seems as though they were forcing that sound to, it's as if they're forcing you that tense. The movie is supposed to keep you on your toes, right? You're supposed to be tense naturally, but you can't force that on the viewers with the soundtrack. It's not possible, and I saw that they were trying too hard with the soundtrack. So I would give that a 5/10. over 10. So for the editing of the movie, I would say that it was not even. Some scenes were unnecessarily dragged. Some scenes, they stayed too long on some scenes than other scenes. Especially now, the scenes where the king and Adalewa first met and they were just talking. And I mean, I feel like there are some parts that the editors could have actually cut out. And it also feels as though there are some parts that should be in the movie that were not there as well. And that would all bounce back on the editing of the movie. So for the editing of the movie, I'll give it a 3 over 10. For the directing of the movie, I would say that the storyline is not such a bad, storyline, right? The storyline could have been better, but at the same time, the directing of the movie too tells a lot on. It falls back on the storyline definitely, but it also falls back on what you tell the actors to do. I would say that they didn't do justice for the directing of the movie because the actors they are working, they are doing what you're telling them to do, basically. Like, the actors are not just, for every set, you see that for some actors, they differ like in various movies. So definitely, there's no way that the direction of the movie would not have an effect on the movie overall, because you are the director, you are the ones telling your actors, oh, this is what to do, this is the next step to take, oh, we're coming in with this scene, we're coming in with that scene. So I'll say for direction of the movie, I'll give it a 3 over 10 because they didn't do justice to the direction of the movie. For the it factor in the movie, the it factor as well, it's just overall execution was bad. So it's not an it movie. Like, it's not a top-notch movie. It's not a one-of-a-kind of movie. So for the it factor, I'll give it a 4 over 10. Overall, for me, AJAKÁJÀ gets a 5 over 10. AJAKÁJÀ is an okay movie. If you want to see it, you can go to the cinemas and go and see it. But if you don't want to, if you just want to see a movie, you can, definitely. But it's not a great movie. It's not a one-of-a-kind movie. It's just a good-to-go movie. You can go and see it. It's not a must-see. Yeah, it's not a must-see. You can go and see it if you feel like seeing it, or if you're also inquisitive, if you feel like, oh, I'm wondering, like, what's this AJAKÁJÀ all about? It's just an okay movie. It's an okay to watch movie. You can definitely see it if you want to see it. It's not a must-see movie. With that, we have come to the end of a Relufe review for AJAKÁJÀ based on 2 words. Now, let me know what you think about this review. Honestly, if you've gone to the cinemas and you've seen the movie, please drop comments about the movie in the comment section. If you agree with me or you disagree with me, let me know. And if there are any other movies out there that you want for us to review, kindly drop it as well in the comment section. Don't forget to like, guys. Don't forget to share. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to follow across all social media platforms. It is at Relufe TV. Until I come your way again next time, my name is AY with the double O, and this is Relufe TV.